So AnyConnect, simple, easy to use, always on, always persistent security. If you would roadmap it, one could probably begin to drive that more and more services could go on to AnyConnect, so you have this one Uber security client from Cisco,
Okay.
right? You've got the security enforcement array, software, hardware hosted. This is something that I think is a huge differentiator for us. And it's called the Cisco Security Intelligence Operations. What it does is starts to deliver on the Cisco on Cisco promise. Right? Cisco's sensor base was the solution for Ironport, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was very, very good. And then we had Threat Ops, which was out there writing the signatures for the IPS, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we had some of the algorithms that we were running in the background, and when it was ScanSafe and we acquired them, they do a lot of heuristic and algorithms for their stuff. Okay? SIO is going and saying each of those 3 different events occurred on different products, right? A sensor was detected a botnet, another one detected malware, and another one detected a probe, and it all went back to SIO now.
Yep.
And together they evaluated it, and together they shared that data. So, to me, the best example of this was there's a search engine in Seattle that we work with, and they get a lot of IP address requests, right? I need to get that page, I get to get that page. Well, they were getting hit with far too many of those requests. They knew something was wrong there. How do you solve that problem? Well, an IPS would make some logical sense, right? But an IPS looks at signatures. IP address doing a get is not bad. It looks the same as others. Well, sensor base knew that those IP addresses were bad. They knew they were sending out bad things. So it was something called global correlation. We took the sensor-based logic and dumped it into the IPS. And 50% of those IP addresses were ruled invalid, bad, and dropped because of the sensor-based logic. So SIO is this massive amount of intelligence, 500 people, all of the data sources we collect. And as we move to an environment where your logic is distributed, it's hosted, it's premise-based, I think that the major differentiator will be how smart you are. Because a firewall at some point just can become a collector of other knowledge. Stuff moves too fast to have it all be hard-coded signatures. And SIO is our smarts, right? So, make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. The third pillar is the data center. How do we solve that problem? Right? How do we accelerate data center sales? How do we make people feel comfortable with that? You know about context in our firewall products, right?
Yep.
So I'm not going to waste your time. So what we announced at RSA was something called SIA, the Security Insertion Architecture. And what that does is fundamentally takes the content tagging and then plugs that into the nexus so that the ether tagging, and I'm a sales guy trying to be engineer, but we're marrying the port to a virtual context so that it's better able to traverse the network clean and fast. Okay? That's announced. But the long-term roadmap here is to literally go and take that into the hypervisor. So just like the Nexus 1000, right, you would have a software version of the VPN. So service chaining with SAA still improves the performance of the network, improves the security of the network. But from an architectural perspective, why would you want to buy Cisco? Why would you care about UCS? Why would you care about Cisco security when I just use Juniper firewalls, HP switches, and this is why. And from my perspective, the ultimate end game in virtualization, and this is Scott Nelson, not Cisco speaking, is you're going to have VM look at available resources, or UCS look at available resources, and say, I've suddenly seen a burst of email. I need more email. Well, there's some processing sitting available on Blade 8, and there's some memory sitting available on UCS Chassis 2, Blade 2. Let's go collect that. Well, to do that, you've got to pull all of your VLAN policies, all of your security policies. So by doing that, putting it into the hypervisor, the closer we are to that, the better we are being able to realize that goal. So major pillar here in terms of how we're going to solve security in the data center and enable more people to put those services out there, whether it's private cloud, public cloud, or simply improving your own virtualization. And then the last piece of it is policy.
And what's, help me out, is there a policy engine now, or is it local for each
Sure.
device? Or
Kind of, maybe, yeah.
Is sensor-based, you know, Derek keeps telling me sensor-based replacing Mars, you know, for visibility, but it's, you know, you can't see in the sensor-based, right? So it's
Right. You know, I wouldn't.
You know,
I wouldn't I wouldn't go so far as saying that sensor base has replaced Mars. Right. Mars was sitting there saying, here's an attack, here's its path, here's its ways of remediating, and here's a reporting engine around that. Okay, that's not what sensor base does. Sensor base is saying, who's originating it? What have they done in the past? What's their payload? Rating. Are they good, bad, and different? Let's give them a rating, and then let's pass the rating on to the user, and the user can make a decision. Do they want to block that rating, allow that rating?
Yeah, and that's why I'm wondering, is there a local rating report engine? You know, hey, you know, here's the ratings, here's what we're doing. I mean, here's what happened, here's the ratings of people you're talking to. You know, I mean, I guess I don't know what people would want out of, you know, I guess security reporting if they didn't have Mars is another way to ask that question. You know what? You know, how are we doing? I mean, we've got these appliances, and what is it? Is it historical and real time only on the application they're delivering right now? They're not a consolidated.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, I think that with Mars, Mars is still here. We're still selling Mars. We're just not doing third-party development anymore. So if you're Cisco and Cisco, you're still going to have that same kind of attack path analysis, and anything you already had, we're still going to support.
Okay.
Okay. But going forward, can we be number 1 or 2 in that space? Are there companies out there that we could partner with better than try to out-develop them? I think the answer is probably yes. So we're very strongly aligned with RSA and Envision as an SIEM. When we talk about policy, and this slide calls it out, right? Who are you? Where are you? What are you trying to do? And how are you trying to do it? And then looking at some kind of centralized policy manager to determine how we manage that. So you can go to YouTube all you want after 5 o'clock, but you can't go between 8 and 5 in the corporate office. That would be an example of this kind of a policy.
And that's what's, that's funny here. We're a good example because we do NEC marketing on YouTube, so we couldn't even see our own. We couldn't reference the, hey, go look at this.
Right.
Here's us in healthcare. But
so, and I think the next slide.